Yes, hello, welcome to the channel everybody, and it is even more G.I. Joe classified on the Mod Extra Games and Collectibles channel today. I don't know what to tell you, I have fallen head over heels in love with this line and I must be stopped because I just can't not pick them up. And in today's video, I'm going to be unboxing and reviewing the Cobra Island Major Bludd figure. So yeah, just get on with the review, you bloody fool. Yes, hello, welcome to the channel, folks. I'm Chris from Mod Extra Games and Collectibles, a channel all about my life and journey as an enormous man nerd who's trapped in a constant state of arrested development and who's forever trying to nostalgically relive his youth as a child of the 80s through the toys and trading cards and comic books and all various collectibles that I'm picking up. Now I have some money of my own. And as I mentioned in the intro there, the focus of this video is going to be the Major Bludd from the G.I. Joe Classified series, specifically from the Cobra Island range. And so I'm going to unbox it for you all, give you my first gut instinct reaction to taking him out of the blister pack. Then I'm going to go away and have a bit of a play, pose him up, take some photos, have some fun, and then come back and share some review thoughts on what I think the highlights are, the things I don't like so much about the figure. So if you're thinking about picking up a Major Bludd, hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a better steer as to whether this is the figure for you. Now this guy has been a nightmare. As someone who's new to the line, who wasn't around when the figure was first released, these Target exclusives in North America are very difficult to get hold of here in the United Kingdom. There are some specialist stores, and there's of course Hasbro Pulse that stock them, in real time, but if you weren't there in the moment, then they're an utter terror to find. And really, you can only they're sold out everywhere, so really you can only find them on eBay. And I've been prowling the listings, but the scalpers have been having a merry old time with overinflated prices on some of these figures. Don't even start me on the Viper and the Baroness. But this one cropped up with, aside from a bit of postage, at retail price. Well, at least my bid came to around retail price, so I thought, right, I'm jumping in and having a crack at that and picking up a Major Bludd because I've got very fond memories of playing with a Major Bludd figure when I was a kid. Back in 87, 88. So yeah, the whole Target exclusive thing, man. Hasbro, just give it a rest, will you? Show some better love to your UK fans. Because if you're not around in real time at the moment of release, it's shocking. It's so difficult to get hold of. I can't see how they're making any money. Anyway, so yeah, let's jump over to the overhead camera so that you can take a look at the unboxing in 3, 2, 1. Right, let's get this naughty mercenary open. Some lovely artwork on the front cover there. Kind of the Major Bludd, looking all kind of badass. The whole, all the collection of dog tags, presumably his kills over the years, hanging around his neck there, which is also, looks like through the window, is replicated in the figure. Oh, here's the stupid, I'm an exclusive, I'm going to be so hard to get. Different, back to usual. I'm used to seeing the big kind of group shot, kind of action movie kind of scene, but this is obviously a Cobra Island figure, so they've got a little kind of Cobra Island thing going on there. More artwork of Major Bludd on the side, and the G.I. Joe kind of data fact card thingy that you can look up on the internet, and he's the 27th figure in the range. All right, out you come, Major. Here we go. Ooh, paperwork. Nice little Cobra Island backing card in there that's going to be slid out and added to my little collection of backing cards. I'm not interested in the data cards at the side. I just like to use them for, putting behind them when I take photographs of them. Right, Major, time to get you out then. What have we got here? We've got your little backpacky thing. That's nice. Got your big shiny helmet. We've got some little rockets. Oh, that one's very resistant. Very resistant rocket in the packaging there. Come on, come on. Pistol number 1. Pistol number 2. I'll probably talk about that more when I do the review, but that's a badass pistol, isn't it? Look at that. I mean, that's designed not just to hit your enemy, but blow a limb off. And then, out he comes. Out you come. The Major himself. Lots of goodies. Looking good, Major. Looking good. Right, here we go then. Here's the Major, all unboxed and kitted up and ready for action. And straight away, just like right out of the gate, doesn't he look like a menacing imposing villainous figure, which, you know, is the point. Loaded up with tons of stuff. I mean, I've put everything on him here right now, and I'll talk about that a little bit going down the line, but I have been relatively pleased with him. I don't know how well he compares to some of the other G.I. Joe classified figures that I've picked up, and I'll talk about that also in a second, but overall, just straight away, look at him, just ready for action. Just this badass Australian villainous mercenary type. Brilliant. Okay, so I've cleared some of the accessories down and stuff so that we can take a closer look at the figure without quite all the bits and bobs and gubbins and what have you. As you can see, he is the standard of kind of articulation and posability that we have come to expect from Hasbro's G.I. Joe classified range, and he's consistent with other figures that I've picked up from the series. Lots of movement on the arms, although I'll talk about his bionic arm in a second. Lots of movement in the head. I've got my hand in front of the light. Let's use this one. Lots of movement on the head here. Lots of left and right. A bit of back, bit of down, although the body armor gets in the way, and again, I'll revisit that in a second. Lots of movement in the legs. Good wrists, ankles, calves, knees. Look, good, loads of good movement in there. Hips. Loads of good movement up here. So lots of posability, lots of action potential if you are a diorama collector or looking for shelf posing or an action figure photographer. That mobility, though, is a little bit hindered by a few design choices, and I get why the design choices are there, but they do sort of get in the way. Let's talk about his bionic arm for a start there. So this shoulder pad here restricts some of the upward motion of the arm, and if you come up too high, you can see that the shoulder pad pops off. Although what I will say is, if you do pop the shoulder pad off, look at all the great kind of mechanical detail just on the inside here of the arm. But yeah, that's something to be mindful of, that the shoulder pad does restrict some of the how high and upward motion. So I was trying to do some photos with him earlier where he was sort of looking down the sights of his pistol like that. With it kind of pointed out in front of him, and obviously the shoulder pad restricted the amount of motion I had available there to do that. I can't get the shoulder pad back on now. There's two like little studs, you see, inside the shoulder pad here. Two little studs that then go back on the arm. I also noticed that the wrist on the left arm, on the other side, doesn't have the up and down motion. So it's got the swivel, and there's a lot of motion in the arm, but unlike kind of this wrist motion here, a bit stiff out the box there, but the wrist motion on this hand here, and that we see on many other action figure hands, we don't have that wrist motion on this side. I'm not sure why they chose to do that, but I suspect it's because of this little piece of armor plating along the top here. The body armor too can add to the restriction. While he's got some good waist movement and he's got the hip crunch, it can restrict. What it does also get in the way of is if you're trying to push his head all the way down or push his head all the way back, because this kind of collar line here gets in the way. So this big bulky body armor piece on him is a bit of an issue. Again, though, you got to have that on him. He's Major Bludd, and he's a man ready for action. Finally, we've got this sort of weird floating belt situation here. So if you can see on his gun holster, he's got a thigh strap and then a waist strap. Lovely detail, by the way, on the belt. Look at that. Holding the gun in, and they're attached here by a couple of other straps, and it's just a bit fidgety and a bit fiddly, when you're trying to get him into, I don't know what sort of pose I've got him in here. Looks more like a wrestler or something there, but it's a bit fidgety and a bit fiddly when you're trying to get him in poses, although as you can see there, not fully restrictive, just needs a bit of bit of TLC to sort it out, especially because the movement here on the centre, on the floating bit of the belt, is quite tightly attached to him there, so it may even be glued. Oh no, it's not glued on the back there. So yeah, but a few minor things really, but they have got in the way of some of the poses that I was trying to put him into for some of the action shots I was trying to take when I was doing some photographs earlier on. Let's talk about his accessories. Okay, so obviously he comes with his classic look helmet there that fans of the comic book and the cartoon will be very familiar with. The design and style of it is very true to the traditional 80s G.I. Joe Major Bludd look, but it's obviously got that classified uppy kind of modern twist on it. I prefer him without, personally. I like the eye patch and the eye scarring and the handlebar stash and the menacing look on his face, and I feel like the design of the helmet sort of obscures it a bit and doesn't give it its full impact. So I'm actually, I've had him on the shelf there, and in most of the photos I've been taking without the helmet. However, if you're a classic G.I. Joe cartoon fan, then you're going to want the classic G.I. Joe look. So I absolutely understand why they included that. We've also got his collection of dog tags, presumably from his victims in the field. Now this, I don't like this thing at all. It's fiddly, it's fidgety, it doesn't really properly fit. If you put the helmet on him at the same time as the dog tags, they sort of all meet and clump up at the back here. Autofocus, there you go. Clump up at the back here, and that just really super restricts the range of motion that's available. I've just found it really fidgety and fiddly, but there it is. There's his collection of dog tags. He's got his little backpack, which is handy. It fits into a peg hole in his back there. And then it's got some storage spaces for some of the other accessories that have come with him. Notably, his pistol, his little laser pistol here, which fits in both hands, the left and the right, and slides in into the trigger figure with ease, comme ça. And then he's got a couple of rockets, bullet-propelled rockets. I don't know what you call them. Rockety things that go on his pistol there, and there's two of those in the pack, and they all fit on his backpack. So you've got a little peg hole there for his pistol, and then these little kind of grooves in here for the storage of the rockets. Now this has been annoying me, the little rocket storage area, because they keep falling out. Just the slightest little, well, that one's actually a bit firmer, but that one you notice there, just the slightest little bit of a shake and a wiggle, and the rockets are falling out. I've also found the backpack a little bit loose, actually, broadly speaking. So yeah, these rockets, they just, you have to really kind of push them in. Oh, even then, you have to like really cram them in there for them to stay put. And yeah, I've been using the backpack on him without the rockets in, if I'm being honest, because they keep falling out and annoying me. Finally, Bludd's got his enormous hand cannon here. This huge, like, massive double-barreled revolver thing that's going on. As I observed in the unboxing there, clearly not just designed to shoot his enemies with, but to actually actively remove limbs with a single bullet. It looks super menacing, super, like, nasty piece of work. I like the little bit of, you know, kind of gunmetal detail on the bullet chamber there. Gives it a little bit of an extra pop, little bit of extra something, and just looks really big and intimidating. And I must admit, even though the pistol that I've got on the backpack here is kind of more cartoon accurate, you know, I've been using this one because it just looks like really intense. However, both are decent guns. Both of these got some good accessories there. Major Bludd comes well kitted out. The aesthetic of the Major is interesting to me. First thing that kind of springs to mind is the fact that his colour scheme is much more subdued in comparison to his comic book and cartoon character. I remember his uniform being much redder, the kind of deeper brown parts of this uniform here being a more kind of silvery, metally colour. So they've definitely chosen to kind of subdue it a little bit and make it a bit more kind of militaristic, for sure, which I can appreciate and understand. You know, they're trying to walk a fine line between meeting my nostalgic needs of the character compared to you know, modernising it and making it a little bit more kind of real life accurate. That said, it looks great. I mean, the detail on the armour, like these little kind of air vents here on the front, the sort of contouring in the helmet. I've already mentioned how I like the kind of menacing face and the scarring and the handlebar moustache and the little flick of grey hair coming in at the front. And he just looks grisly and angry and menacing, just perfect. Yeah, really great on the facial features. Lots of texture in the figure there as well. You can see like across the he's got the seam down the side of his pants and the kind of textile texture there. Look at the leather effect on the boots. I mean, that looks, I don't know if I'm doing it justice on my camera, but the boots look well worn. You know, he's a man who's been in combat and he's got really worn leather boots. We've got all sorts of nice little details on the armour, metal metal buckles, little metal cans, his belt buckle there, lots of seams and pockets and just stuff to give it some life and some character and make it look less plain. And as I mentioned earlier, the Bionic Arm's got some nice kind of Bionic style details on it, which I really appreciate. So yeah, overall the aesthetic, the look of Major Bludd is spot on, and yeah, pretty happy overall. I'm starting to feel like I'm repeating myself a great deal with the reviews for the G.I. Joe classified figures, because I'm finding myself saying the same things over and over again, and they're all positives. That's the line has really won me over. I've fallen head over heels in love with it, and figure after figure, there's always been a massive list of positives compared to any small annoyances or niggles that I may have experienced. Major Bludd, like others in the line, has got it all going on. He's got the great posability and articulation that we've come to expect from Hasbro's G.I. Joe classified figures. He's got a great look. He's just walking that fine line between hitting the nostalgia bell for me as an 80s child, loving the cartoons and the comic books, but they've obviously modernised and G.I. Joe classified him up to meet some kind of real life looking and feeling aspects. The facial sculpt on Bludd is brilliant. I love the scars, I love his badass look, I love his tash. It's got lots of character and personality on that front. He looks suitably mean and badass as a kind of Cobra mercenary type fella. I'd probably say that overall, looking at it from the perspective of comparing him to other G.I. Joe classified figures, he'd be lower priority to me, or I'd recommend him as a lower priority to you, I suppose, than other figures. I think, in the scale of awesomeness that is G.I. Joe classified, he's a bit lower down than some of the others that I've picked up. But that's relative, of course, because it's already a super high standard. I'll explain my thinking there. I like the nostalgia. Sometimes I'm fine with the sort of G.I. Joe classified pursuit of sort of a real life twist on the figures, and sometimes I'm not. And Major Bludd, it's the colour scheme actually. The brown of him just looks a bit drab on the shelf, and I might have preferred possibly something a little bit reddier with the shinier kind of trimmings, the body armor and the helmet, like he was in the cartoon, and like my original Major Bludd from the 80s was like. But I don't know, obviously not having seen a more cartoon accurate version of this figure, it's hard to say. But yeah, that's the main thing really, I suppose, is that I'd drop him down the list, because as a guy who wants to play with these with his son, take a few photos and display him on a shelf, Major Bludd, despite the awesome face sculpt, just looks a bit drier, a bit blander, a bit more, brown, basically. Whereas with some of the other figures, next to Cobra Commander in all his blues and his silver face mask and stuff, and the Cobra infantry soldier, again, all blue and black, and some of the things we've seen about to come out, he just looks a bit more dull. And then throw in the fact that his articulation is a little bit messed up with this weird holster situation, the shoulder pad here, which has again fallen loose, and the fact I can't get the rockets to stay on the back patch, just those additional little bits kind of put him a bit lower on the list. But to be clear, that list is already super high in standard, so he's like a low great rather than a. Do you get what I mean? It's all relative. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a badass looking mercenary with a really menacing face, who's got great articulation, an incredible hand cannon for your collection, then yeah, Major Bludd's absolutely for you. But if you're looking for something with a little bit more pop for your shelf, a little bit more pop for your diorama, then you might want to look at some of the more colourful figures, because I just find the brown a bit drab. But yeah, overall, that's like I say, it's a really minor thing. I just think G.I. Joe classified is tremendous as a range, and I'm grading him on the low end of that higher standard. So there you go. There's Major Bludd. So if though that's what you're looking for, then here's the figure for you. But if you want a bit more colour, then maybe not. Excellent. Okay, well, thanks so very much for watching, folks. If you have the time, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and give me a like down below. It takes you just a minute, but it means so much for me and helps me know and understand whether I'm in the right direction with my content or not. Otherwise, I've been Chris from Mod Extra Games and Collectibles, and I'll see you around these parts for another video review sometime soon. Thanks for watching.